Good afternoon, everyone. It is October 29th. I'm Eric. I'm here at shtfplan.com. Perfect storm is brewing. This comes from Michael Schneider of the Economic Collapse blog. He says that we will someday look back on October 2018 as, or will we look back on October 2018 as the turning point? I think the turning point happened a while ago. As the month began, people were generally feeling pretty good about things, and the U.S. stock market quickly set a new all-time high. But from that point on, the wheels fell off for Wall Street. We just witnessed the worst October for U.S. stocks since the financial crisis of 2008. And at this point, more than $8 trillion of global wealth has been completely wiped out. Reminds me of that South Park episode where Stan's dad takes him to open a bank account to show him some responsibility, or teach him some responsibility, and the banker says, "And it's gone." But it isn't just the stock market that's being shaken. The horrific violence in Pittsburgh is just the latest in a string of events that have rattled the entire nation. Sometimes I feel like I am literally watching the fabric of our society come apart right in front of my eyes. And I wouldn't be covering this article if I didn't feel the same, more or less the same way. It is almost as if there is a tangible presence of evil in the air, and it seems to be getting stronger over time. For quite a while, I've been warning that levels of anger and frustration are rising to unprecedented levels, and all of that anger and frustration is leading people to do things that are absolutely unthinkable. And if people are this crazed now, how bad are things going to be once the economy really starts unraveling? I'm going to answer that question. How bad are things going to be once the economy really starts unraveling? Think dystopia. Think violence. Think anger and frustration. Only in this particular situation, the prisons aren't going to be able to hold all the inmates. There's not going to be money to hold all these inmates. This is why many states have taken to releasing a lot of their prisoners. This is why more people are getting probation as opposed to prison time, because if you're a person on probation, you have to feed yourself, you have to pay your own rent, your own utilities, and of course the court will get their fair share of your earnings. So it's more logical for them at this point to throw people on probation as opposed to prison, for the reason I just cited. And it's going to get crazier. I mean, we have already seen the escalation in craziness since I started making these videos a few years ago. Let there be no doubt, if U.S. stocks really crash really hard, it will cause a massive credit crunch, and that would absolutely strangle the economy or economic activity. Yes, October was bad, but we can recover from what happened in October. But if November and December are equally as bad or worse, we could have a nightmarish crisis on our hands very rapidly. And many experts believe that this market is ultimately going to decline much, much further. For example, just consider what Wolf Richard is saying. I'm going to end it with what he says here about the economy and move on, but people should know. And a lot of people are living in this land of delusion where they think everything is okay. He says, so it boils down to this. Stump stocks have gotten crunched, but the market overall has barely been dented. Though the fundamentals are rotten, shares are still ludicrously overpriced. Enthusiasm is still exuberant, except on bad days, and blind faith in its annually rising stock prices still reigns. And the fact that stocks like Tesla or Netflix continue to levitate beyond all reality shows that this downturn has a long way to go, or maybe even years. We'll see. We'll see. Now, Data Talk 357, he turned me on to this, and I didn't mention it earlier. Joe Heck, chairman of the National Commission on Military, National, and Public Service. Q&A. Former Representative Joe Heck has been entrusted to lead a lengthy review of whether the U.S. still needs a military draft. The three-term Nevada Republican who chaired the House Armed Services Military Personnel Subcommittee was named chairman a year ago of the National Commission on Military, National, and Public Service. The 11-member panel tasked with recommending moves to increase participation in military and public service was created by Congress amid a heated debate over whether women should be required to register for Selective Service system. But the commissioner first need to tackle whether a military draft, which hasn't been used since the Vietnam War, is still needed. The bigger question that we want to answer first is whether or not we even need the Selective Service system, Heck said in an interview. We have to answer that first before we determine whether or not women should have to register. More broadly, the Commission is examining how to boost national service, including participation in service programs like the Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, or Teach for America, as well as public service that include government service and holding public office. How do we increase those, or the ethos, or propensity to serve across all service lines, military, national, public service? Heck said, describing the Commission's aim. Ultimately, our vision for the Commission is that every American is inspired to serve. I'm going to stop right there. Before you can inspire Americans to serve in your shitty government, you first have to remove a whole lot of regulations and laws that we don't need. We first have to be the free country that you politicians claim we are. You want to know why people aren't serving? Because they know you people are lying sacks of shit. And you don't have our best interest in mind. That's why people don't want to serve. And the most hated people in our society are those who serve the state. Have you ever been to a DMV or any other state-run place and just the shitty overall attitude of the people? They're assholes. No one wants to work with a bunch of fucking assholes. Okay, so over the past year, the panel's members have crisscrossed the country and taken part in public meetings and listening sessions to learn more about barriers to service and potential solutions. The panel plans to issue an interim report laying out those issues and potential recommendations in January, with a final report to follow in March 2020. A physician and Army Reserve Brigadier General, Heck left the House after an unsuccessful Nevada Senate bid in 2016 against Democrat Catherine Cortez Masto. So, and Beta's comment, and I want to hit that because he does make a great point. Move this shit out of the way right quick. Alright. Come on. Come on. Bert.
Good morning, everyone. It's October 29th, 28.
Good morning, everyone. But it's not morning anywhere. Okay. This is from Beta Talk 357, a longtime subscriber, and somebody who has a great mind. A recent article had an interview with Joe Heck. I just went over that article. One of the men involved with the National Commission for Military National Public Service. He's hinting towards women registering for selective service, but only doing national or public service, which includes running for office. All the while sacrificing men in combat. Women in charge, men sacrificed for the elites. If the structure isn't feasible, he's opinioning that selective service be shut down while leaving men only subject to conscription when the draft needs reactivating. Initial report due this January, followed by the final report March 2020. And that's exactly right. Men are always the ones that are sacrificed. More specifically, white men. And we're the ones that go fight the wars. We're the ones that are, in large, killed in combat. But then again, we are the ones stupid enough to believe that the government has any kind of love for us, and that's, I suppose, what we get. So, you know, the economy is going. A lot. This guy, the last person, that last excerpt I read, he thinks it's going to take a while still. I certainly hope he's wrong. I'm just as soon get the shit over with and be done with it. But next month and December, they're going to make or break it. And if Christmas season is as bad as it was the last 3 years, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cover this here in this article, or in this video, because I'm running out of time to do these. Sinister intent behind anti-white news. Derek Jameson, former editor of The Sun, one of Britain's most notorious editors, summed some media up. All the news fit to print, all the news printed to fit. Yep. From England's former Milltown villages in the Row, Seattle to Cape Town, ethnic Europeans daily run into gauntlet of anti-white racist hate abuse from non-Europeans. And we do. Two things can be certain. Non-white racists are encouraged by a blind-eye media that sees only whites as racist. Secondly, the anti-white haters know well that their vile racist hate rhetoric will never be reported and condemned. So, you see right here on your screen, these are the perpetrators, these are the victims of these crimes. So, pretty fucking crazy. In many parts of Europe, white school children are forced to take detours or accept lifts to reach their school. The boys to avoid racist bullying, girls to avoid sexually charged harassment. These incidents are never reported in liberal left media. However, a brief altercation between a European and a Filipino as far away as New Zealand makes world headlines and is featured on European national television. The sinister intent behind media mind manipulation is to stigmatize ethnic Europeans as inherently stupid, racist, and antisocial. Yet, never mind. At the same time, to baptize non-Europeans in victimhood and as being more amenable to multiculturalism. Of course, non-Europeans wouldn't even dream of preferring their own kind and culture as do misguided racist whites. Recognize a media for what it is. Media has one purpose only, and that is to spin news and views that oils the wheels of globalism. Is there a way to combat the flagrant anti-white hate news by anti-white racist mainstream? Yes. Get your white fingers out of your kid gloves and counter racist hate media by educating the sheeple as to how they are being brainwashed and set up for genocide by forcing race amalgamation. No. Just, I understand what it means, but I can't pronounce it. Forced integration. We're forced to accept the diversity. That's what they're getting at here. And there's lots of websites dedicated to anti-white racism, such as The Root, and numerous others. The Black Israelites, the ones who think that they were the ancient Egyptians. Really, the ancient Egyptians were the Anunnaki, but whatever. So, you tell me, how far off are we from that day? Because it looks like no matter what we do, we're in for a fucking ride. So, I hope you all have a good day. Till next time, kill the state. before the state kills you.